Would you like to find out what we use to describe the three-dimensional shapes in a room? Well, stay tuned to find out what that is. Hi everyone, it's Carol from Discover Interior Design, and I'm so glad you're here. In this video, we're going to be talking about form, and that's a design element. So one of the components that we use to help create a great design. And so we are thinking about shape when we're talking about form. And form is just the three-dimensional shape of something. So when we're talking about maybe a light fixture that's round, that's describing the shape, but more accurately, we would say that that's a sphere. So when we're thinking about the three-dimensionality of objects in a room, and even the room itself, we can think of them in a more accurate way when we're talking about the forms that they have and the shapes of those forms. So in a room, in our homes, everywhere we go practically, we are going to experience different three-dimensional shapes, different types of forms. And let's take a look at some common forms that we can find in a room. So one of the first three-dimensional shapes that we can think about is our rooms. And maybe we have a rectangular room. Well, you know, a more accurate way of describing that room would be calling it a cuboid or even a rectangular prism. And we can think of a kitchen island has that shape. Anything where that shape of that three-dimensional object is rectangular. It's like a box. And we can think of a sofa is another example of that, or even a fish tank. So, you know, I'm not walking around, saying, let's have a cuboid or a rectangular prism style kitchen island. We're not using that term all the time, but it's nice to know, what really would describe that accurately. Another form that we see in our homes, we could describe as being circular, but with straight sides. So we're talking about a cylinder. So we could look at it, maybe a little side table or a little coffee table that has straight sides, but is circular and that has a cylinder form to it. We could also think about a vase is another example of that. So another shape that we see in our rooms is the square shape. And when we're talking about a three-dimensional form of a square shape, we're referring to cubes. And so, examples of those could be, a cube-shaped poof, or even a coffee table, or even an ottoman, and even a chair that's kind of boxy, reminds us of kind of like a cube, is another example of a cube-shaped form. And then another common form that we see in our home is something where we would describe it as almost triangular, but it's rounded at the same time. And we're thinking of cones. So a cone is a way to describe that rounded, almost triangular shape. And, really good example of that are lampshades. How many lampshades we can find that have a cone shape to them. And so that's a really cool thing to notice. And then another type of form that we see in our home that we would describe as being round or circular, well, we would call that sphere or spherical. And so we could look at, a roundish light fixture, but the reality is that three-dimensional shape, we would call that a sphere, or it has a spherical form to it. We could even look at a doorknob. We could say, oh, that doorknob has a spherical form to it. Or even looking at a round poof, that will have a round spherical form to it. So it's a neat thing to kind of know, and to notice what is a three-dimensional form of something. And at the same time, we still use, shape to describe things. We may describe, a lamp fixture. We want to have a circular lamp fixture. And so we would know that probably means a ball-shaped lamp fixture. But we would also know at a deeper level, that's a sphere. So, just kind of knowing that information is just another tool that we can have to describe, all of the cool things that we have going on in our homes. So one thing I encourage you to do is just to take a moment in your busy day and look for all those different types of shapes, all those different three-dimensional forms that are happening in your room, and having some fun identifying the shape that each of those forms has. And let me know what you find out in the comments, and let me know your other thoughts about this topic in the comments as well. And I want to thank you so much for watching, and please like and subscribe, and I hope you're doing well, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Take care.